What concerns did you have when considering enrolling your student at Wildlands, and how do you feel now?
I was concerned that the distance, because we're in Eau Claire and it's about a 30 to 35 minute drive. I'm not concerned about that as much because he carpools with other families and other students, and Wildlands really helped put us in touch with the right people to make it affordable and safe. And I was a little bit concerned that he would be so much in charge of his own education and so much responsible for taking the initiative, because he really didn't have any initiative before. But I'm not concerned about that anymore because the atmosphere and the expectations here it matches well with him, and he was able to take that independence and grow with it, so not a concern.
One of the concerns that we had was the project-based learning. We weren't exactly sure how that would work, and the thing that we've discovered is that all the projects have learning targets that are connected to their requirements for graduation, and the students are able to meet those in a number of different ways, and it really gives Caitlin the opportunity to be able to learn in a way that's best for her, but also meets her learning targets and her learning goals as required by the DPI. And so we really appreciate that. And I was a little concerned about the deadlines. Would they learn deadlines if they were project-based? Could they stretch a project out forever? And actually, I think that the Wildlands School students are going to come out better in a work environment because they're given a project and told, here's what we want done, figure it out, and they know how to think for themselves. And I think that's a head and shoulders advantage above, here's what we want you to do point by point by point, because it gives the students a chance to learn those things for themselves.
I wasn't exactly sure how they met the different standards and things, and so I had an idea of that they picked their projects, but that, well, if I didn't like poetry per se, then they would never pick a project on poetry, and that it could be a more narrow education than a good, well-rounded one. But then when I came in contact with Mr. Fields, he showed me how it all worked and showed me how the different standards and how they had to meet different ones. They just got to do it in their own way. So that was really cool, that they had to meet the standards, but it was how it related to them, so then it would be more meaningful.
Going from a real traditional background, I went to a traditional high school, coming to something non-traditional, I had some concerns, but it didn't take long after we came here and saw how things were done that not only was I reassured about how that her grades would be tracked, but I really liked the idea of progressing at a person's speed and not moving on until you develop mastery. I really like that idea.
My biggest concern was the test taking, because you have to sit for ACTs, the state standard test, and if they don't have a regular structure like a public school classroom where they get used to that, I was a little bit concerned that he wouldn't be prepared for those other tests, but that hasn't been a problem at all. I mean, he said that he used the word easy when they did the state standard test for 8th grade. He was like, it was kind of easy. So that I was kind of glad to hear that. I was a little bit nervous that he would be thrown off from going from the classroom setting to this structure.
One of the things we worried about was whether he'd have enough socialization with the students at his original school that he was coming from, if he'd stay in touch with them. And it turned out that through band, music, and sports, he could still stay in touch with those students, and then he also made a bunch of new friends here at this school, so that was not a problem at all.
Well, I was a little worried, with Molly being 16, how would she do leaving her friends and prom and things like that, and it's just not been a concern. She's kept up with her friends, she's made new friends here, and she's just continued to thrive.
We did a combination with our kids of a Montessori charter school, of some homeschooling, so this really was a very logical extension of what we already believed to be true about kids and how they learn and what's the best environment for learning. So actually this school is my dream school. If I got to pick all the components, this would be it.